Hello everyone, welcome to today's presentation. My name is Joe Teixeira, I'm a product manager at MuxLab. I am here with the product manager, Edson. Edson, do you want to just say hello to everyone?
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today.
And I'm also here with Lori. Lori is our marketing director. She'll be on, and we've got some of our sales folks and some of our support folks as well. So if you have any questions, you can ask them along the way, or you can wait for the end and ask your questions at the end if you prefer. So we're going to get started. Lori, if you don't mind, if you can enable users access as they come on so that they have access to their mics once I start the presentation. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So today we're going to look at MuxLab's new line of products that we've released over this past year. We're going to be looking at Muximus, which is a management platform that we use. It's actually a physical controller that is used to manage our AV over IP devices. It's also going to be used to manage other aspects of our product lines, including Dante and digital signage, all from the same platform. We're going to be looking at our seamless switching line of AV over IP devices. This is a streaming line of products. That's a new addition to our line of over IP. And we have a new KVM Over IP line of products that we're going to be looking at as well. So with that, we're going to get started. We're going to start with Muximus. So Muximus is a network controller that we use to manage, as I mentioned, our AV over IP devices. It also manages some other devices, which we're going to look at as we go forward. It is an upgrade to an existing network controller that we have. The previous model is the 508.12. This is the 508.13. This newer model has an enhanced web interface, and it manages other categories of products other than just AV over IP, which we're going to look at. So first and foremost, Muximus is used to manage our AV over IP, and with respect to that, it is used to discover all the devices in the network. So you can have any number of encoder and decoder AV over IP devices on your network. Muximus will discover all those devices for you. MuxLab happens to have the widest variety of AV over IP products on the market. We have over 35 different models of encoder decoders for various types of applications. So it's sort of like a one-stop shop for AV over IP. So this will manage all those devices. It will discover them. It will allow you to configure all those encoder decoders. It will allow you to manage the connectivity of those devices. You can create presets, which are basically preset connections. So you can set up connection points, save that as a preset, rearrange it to a different connection arrangement, save that as a preset, so on and so on and so forth, and recall those presets at a given moment to get back those connections. So it's a very nice way to quickly switch from one configuration to another. It also is used to manage video walls, so you can create various video wall configurations and multi-view configurations for models that support video wall and multi-view applications. You can upgrade the firmware of your devices, of your encoder decoders directly from the controller, and it also supports third-party drivers. So you can use third-party management platforms to manage our AV over IP devices if you don't want to use the control interfaces that we provide you with, for example, with Muximus. The control interface, by the way, is a web interface, so it's directly inside the unit. So you access it via its IP address, and you have full access to all those controls that I just mentioned. But also to that API, you can use third-party applications to manage our products as well. If your customers already have those platforms in place and want to manage our AV over IP with those management platforms, they can. We have drivers for RTI, URC, Control4, QSYS, Crestron, and AMX. We have other management platforms that can be used in addition to that, to this controller. We have a wall plate, an 8-button controller. Its part number is here, the 500-816-IP. That's an 8-button controller, and we have a touch screen, which is model number 500-817. These devices are mounted on the wall and can very easily control your AVoIP environment by activating presets that you've pre-configured in this controller. So it's a very simple way to rearrange connections from, for example, if you're in a conference room, you can rearrange connectivity by just the press of a button. Okay, it's either a soft touch button with the touch panel, or you can have that 8-button controller, which has 8 physical buttons that you can program each of them. So what we've done with the Muximus controller is we've enhanced the web interface over the previous model. The previous model, by the way, still exists. It's still going to be available to you for customers who've already been purchasing that particular model for their AV over IP and they want to continue to use that model. It's still going to be available. It's still going to be supported, but we are migrating to this newer platform, the Muximus platform. For anyone who's getting into AV over IP with us for the first time, they can upgrade to this model right away. Of course, if you've used the previous controller in the past, you could still upgrade to this newer model. And the intent is to go with this one because the web interface is a much more user-friendly interface for you. You can see here some examples. It starts with a dashboard interface. That's your main view. That allows you to look at all the units that you have, all the encoder decoders that you have in your physical installation. And by the way, you only need one controller per install. So at a given installation, at a given on a given network, you'll have any number of encoder decoders. You can have hundreds of them, but you only need the one controller to manage those devices. Okay, so the dashboard view allows you to see all those encoder decoders and their health status, if it's up and running, if it has an issue, or if it's offline, for example. You have the ability to, you can also go to the device manager window where allows you to manage individual devices. You can configure those devices individually. You can configure them in groups. You can also update firmware of those devices from this view. You also have smart filters to be able to sort what you're looking at or focus on particular model groups of AV over IP devices. Because we have so many models, you may want to work with a given model to configure those units in particular. So you can use smart filters to be able to do that. We have a reporting in the dashboard. Also, you have a reporting capability where you can generate reports of all the units that are physically running and identify which models have problems, whatever, but you can generate reports to provide to your management or to your support team to be able to go and resolve issues. You have the ability to manage a video wall, so you can create and manage video walls from the video wall view. So you can basically set up various sizes of video walls throughout your installation. Same thing for multi-views. For models that support that, you can create different multi-view window layouts and be able to call those layouts up later on when you're actually using them. So this is part of the configuration process. You can set up presets, as I mentioned before. Again, it's just a matter of making connections, and this window also can be used to actually manage the connectivity. So you can make connections from your transmitters to your receivers or encoder decoders, however you prefer to call them, and save those presets. So you can rearrange to a certain configuration, save it as a preset, and so on and so forth, as many as you like, and then recall them from this view very, very easily. As I mentioned, also, we have an API, so you can actually create, you can activate drivers to manage our AV over IP devices via third-party management platforms. So all of that can be done directly from the API. And again, we do manage APIs we have API drivers for RTI, URC, Control4, QSYS, Crestron, and AMX. So that's in some cases you may not have a choice because your end customers are using those platforms already. And if they ask you, do you have drivers for the MuxLab units for my management platform, the answer would be yes for any one of those. So in addition to managing AV over IP, another thing we've done with Muximus that we didn't have with our previous controller is we are now able to manage other platforms as well, other categories of products. So the second category is Dante. We have a full line of Dante products. We've actually duplicated the Dante controller from Audinate inside Muximus, so you can activate that same controller that you're already familiar with from Muximus and be able to manage all of our Dante products. And by the way, you can also manage other Dante products from other companies as well, because it's really a duplication, a full Dante controller. Again, from that same platform, Muximus, you can also manage our digital signage devices. We have some AV over IP devices that double as AV over IP and Dante. So they support a media player within the actual decoder. And so it can actually work with our over IP devices for source material, as well as content that's stored on the media player portion, to be able to have digital signage slides showing up on your screen. And you can have sub windows that happen to be sources from your over IP environment. So it's a very unique product in the industry. And by the way, MuxLab is one of the few companies that actually does AV over IP as well as digital signage. Most often customers are doing, or manufacturers are doing, one category of product or the other. We're doing both. But Muximus will allow you to control both the digital signage, your AV over IP, and your Dante line of products. So we're just going to do a quick recap of our AV over IP line, just as a reminder. Because we have over 35 different models, it can be a little bit daunting for installers, integrators to decide which model is best for their customers. So we've subcategorized them into 6 different categories, and we've introduced a 7th category, which I'll talk about in just a moment. With respect to the initial 6 categories, the top 3 are very similar in that they are all HDMI environments. They support low latency, and they all run over a 1 gig network. What this differentiates them from one category to the other, from the 100, 200 to 300 series, is the resolution that they support. The 100 series is our entry-level products. This category of products supports motion JPEG compression and up to 1080p in terms of resolution. The next category moves you up in resolution to 4K 30 444 or 4K 60 420. Here we're using JPEG 2000 compression. And the 300 series takes you up another level to 4K 60 444 in terms of resolution, and we're again using JPEG 2000 compression. All of these products are low latency, as I mentioned. They all run over a 1 gig network. The 200, they all support video wall for all 3 categories. The 200 and 300 series also support KVM. So these products are all, they really, when you're talking to your customers, and if you can nail down what kind of resolution they're looking for, you can very quickly hone in on a particular category based on resolution, and from there you can decide which model within that resolution best suits their particular application. We actually have a PDF document with all the model numbers in each category in a table format with different features and via versus product number, and you can very quickly, by looking at the features you're looking for in a particular category, identify a given product number. So within a few minutes you can hone in from 35 different models down to one specific model based on your customer's resolution and specific features that he needs. Does he need video wall? Does he need the ability to do KVM? Does he need to do does he need to be able to send RS-232 as well as AV over IP audio video signals? So that table will help you hone in on a particular model and very quickly select one. Next category, the 400 series, is very similar to the 300 series in that it supports 4K 60 444, but it does not run on a 1 gig network. It runs on a 10 gig network. It's using SDVoE technology. This is also interoperable between MuxLab products and other manufacturer products with respect to their SDVoE products. The difference here is that we're running on a higher bandwidth network, and we can use and we actually use a much lower compression algorithm in this category. So the images are going to be a little bit more sharper. They're going to be cleaner in terms of artifacts. Whenever you use compression, there's always a chance of having some potential artifacts in the background. And to be honest, for the most part, people don't see the artifacts in videos, but they may be there. So there may be applications where the 400 series is going to be better suited than the 300 series. For example, if it's a hospital situation and you have AVoIP being used even in the operating rooms and cameras are being used, or you're looking at an X-ray that's being transmitted over IP, you probably are better off with the 400 series than the 300 series to have the best image quality possible. Whereas the 300 series is perfectly suited for things like this, what you can see here. Sports bar, for example, is a perfect example to use the 300 series for up to 4K 60. Next, we have the 600 series. The first four, the 100 through to the 400 series, are all low latency products. They can support KVM, they can support video wall in this category. The 600 series is different in that it's a low latency, it's a low bandwidth product category, and it's designed for streaming over the internet. So if you want to be able to send signals from one city to another or from one country to another, and you want to be able to stream that signal, then the 600 series is the way to go. It's a higher a latency product than the other four, but it's a much lower bandwidth. Where the first four cannot transmit over the internet, this category can. So depending on the customer needs, again, you can very quickly select the category that you need. In the 600 series, we have models for 1080p, 4K 30, and 4K 60, and priced accordingly. The last category is the 800 series. This is for the broadcast industry, which typically uses SDI instead of HDMI connectivity. So SDI-based cameras and monitors. In this category, we actually have SDI-based products, and we also have some HDMIs for some specific applications. But here we're talking about products that are supporting a standard that was created by the industry called SMPTE 2110, or some people just call that ST 2110. It's a protocol that was designed by the industry for the broadcast industry. This category of products supports uncompressed transmission. So signals are not compressed. So we're running over a 10 gig or a 25 gig network, depending on the resolution of the product. And we have products in this category that go from 1080p up to 4K 60. Which is in the SDI world is called 3G SDI, all the way up to 12G SDI. And these products support redundancy as well. So they're actually two media ports. So you can go over two independent networks to get to the other end. And if one network drops, your signal continues to operate on the backup network, and you don't lose a single frame. So this is for mission critical applications, live broadcasts, things like that, for the professional broadcast environment. So that's our lineup of products. We are introducing, and we're going to look at next a new category, the 650. It's a hybrid it's an offshoot from the 600 series. So it's a streaming low bandwidth product, and it still uses H.264, 265 like the 600 category. This category, by the way, 600 and the 650 are also they operate with MuxLab products as well as other brand products, because H.264, 265 is a standard across the industry. It works with IP cameras and things of that sort. The 650 series introduces seamless switching into this category of product, into the streaming line of products, and some additional enhancements which we're going to look at next. So we're going to start with the AV over IP streaming line. We've recently introduced 2 new products. These products are coming soon, just so you know. They'll be available early next year, just before the ISE show in Europe, which is in beginning of February. So we have a 4K 30 version of this product and a 4K 60 version of this product. Both support seamless switching. They operate up to 4K 60 in the case of the 500/861. We have lower latency than our previous 600 series categories. Here we're talking about a latency of 80 milliseconds. That's in total. Total latency from one end to the other transmission, so that's encoding and decoding included in there. The product comes supporting copper, so you can run over 100 meters from your Ethernet switch. It does have a SFP cage or module included in the product. You can see it here on this image. So you can separately order a single mode SFP module to plug into this device, and that allows you to go up to 2 kilometers in distance from your Ethernet switch if you need to have that capability, or if you just need to have single mode connectivity because of your network. Okay. This category of product is also unique in the sense that it's a full transceiver. That means you only need 1 box to make it operate as a transmitter or receiver, but it also operates as a transmitter and receiver simultaneously. So there's no configuration to do, it just always works. It's like having both a transmitter and a receiver inside the same physical box. The only thing that they actually share is the Ethernet port. The transmitter and the receiver are physically separate entities inside this enclosure, so you can run the transmitter and the receiver simultaneously if you wish. You can just use the transmitter side, you can just use the receiver side, or you can use both at the same time, which is very nice. The other great thing is that the price point for this device is there's a slight markup from just buying a single transmitter or a single receiver. So if you end up using both halves of this product, you're winning. You're saving yourself some money, because there's a small premium for getting this product over buying a single transmitter or a single receiver. So it's almost like half the price if you use both sides of it. Okay, and it's practical for your customers because and for you as well. If you're stocking any of these, you only have to have one, and the customer can then later use it as a transmitter or receiver or both. It has scaling capability as well. So if you input 1080p into this device, you can output 4K if you've got a 4K monitor, or vice versa. If you've got a 4K source coming in and you've got a 1080p monitor, it can scale down to 1080p to suit your monitor. The device supports multi-view capabilities. I'm going to cover these next few points with some images to make it a little bit easier for you. We support multi-view, and you can have up to 16 different windows. Now, here we're just laying them out side by side, all the same size. You can rearrange these layouts the way you want. You can click on any image, size it by grabbing the corner, grabbing it in the center, placing it wherever you want. It supports layouts in a side-by-side fashion, like you can see here. You can do picture-in-picture, as you can see in this example here, where you have images inside other images, and you can also do overlay, so you can have partly covered images with other images on top of it, or videos. I'm sorry, can be images, can be videos. So you have a lot of flexibility in how you do your multi-views, up to 16 windows. Again, that's 4 times higher than our previous 600 category multi-view capabilities, which are up to 4 multi-views. Here we can do 16. We also support rotation, so you can have your TVs mounted vertically, and you can rotate the image so you can see it vertically. We support video wall capabilities and video wall with multi-view in the video wall. So here you've got an example of a 3x3 video wall, so 3 screens by 3 screens, so 9 screens in total, and you can set up them to work as just one big screen, or you can set up video wall, multi-views within that screen. And here you can see two video walls where you've got basically one large one and you've got a small one here with picture-in-picture. And you can have, again, up to 16 multi-views on this video wall. It also supports background images and scrolling text and banners as well. These AV over IP devices, like our other AV over IP devices, are PoE, so they're powered by the Ethernet switch itself, if you have one that supports PoE capabilities. So that's our streaming line, new edition streaming line of products, which supports seamless switching, and all these enhanced features that we just looked at. Next, we're going to be talking about our KVM over IP line. It's a new introduction. Again, this product category is coming soon. It's going to be also coming just prior to ISE in Europe, which again is in early February. So this will be released prior to that, probably in late January. And again, we have both a 4K 30 product as well as a 4K 60 product. For KVM capabilities. It supports the same distances. A lot of the features are very similar to the previous category. It is also an H.264/265 video codec built into this product. It also supports a transceiver in the same fashion as the seamless AV over IP product we spoke about, in that it's a full transmitter and a full receiver. You can use either or both at the same time. Okay, same deal for pricing. There's just a small premium for buying this device over the price of a single transmitter or a single receiver. So if you're using both halves, you're winning. You're saving yourself a lot of money. It has an 80 millisecond latency from encoding to decoding, but the latency for the KVM portion is a lot quicker than that. So you're going to have a very low latency for KVM for your mouse and your keyboard. So of course it supports a USB port for the KVM portion. By the way, even the AV over IP had USB transmission as well as RS-232 transmission, and same for this product. I'm going to move over to some slides, some images to better explain how this product works. It's a very flexible product. It does a lot of different things, and it's a very capable product. In terms of KVM, again, because it's transceiver, you've got the ability to connect a server to the transmitter portion of the product, and the receiver can connect to the workstations themselves. So your keyboard, your mouse, and your monitors would be connected to the receiver portion of the switch, and the server to the transmitter portion. Now, in this particular screen, in this particular example, I'm separating the servers away from the workstations, okay? But you're going to see on the next slide, I can actually connect servers to the transmitter portion that's currently, in this example here, not being used. Okay, but I can use it. I can connect it to a server, and it will be available to any other workstation, and you'll see that on the next slide. But just to simplify things, I'm showing the server separate and the workstation separate. You can create video walls of the workstation screens themselves. So you can set up, you've got here a 1x1, you've got a 1x2, you've got a 1x3. I can go up in rows as well. So I can create a 2x an X by Y arrangement of screens. Each screen can support up to 9 servers at the same time in a multi-view arrangement. So you'll see some examples of how the software looks, the OSD. There's an on-screen display to manage your workstations, and you'll see how that looks further down. But you can have up to 9 windows of servers set up on a single screen. So in this particular case here, I can have up to 27 because I've got 3 screens, so 9 per screen. I can manage up to 27 servers from this particular workstation, and if I had more screens, I could manage more units. Moving across from screen to screen is extremely intuitive. You just move your cursor across as you hit the barrier between one screen and another, and you keep on moving your mouse. It'll just move on to the next window, and then as you keep going, you'll move on to the other window. Okay. Once you're within a window, you can hover over any particular multi-viewed screen, which represents a server, and click on it to take control of that server. Okay, and then you can switch back to your multi-view and select another server and manage different servers at the same time. Okay. Some other capabilities of this product is that you can push content from one workstation to another. So in this case, for example, I might be working here. I see something that I want to share with a colleague on another workstation. I can push that content onto him and request him to share the screen with me. He can, if he accepts, he will be able to see that content, and then we can discuss that particular screen together. There's also an intercom system that you can set up between that you can activate at the same time, so that you can actually communicate via the mics on your screens and the speakers while you're discussing, for example, a screen that you're sharing together. So you have an intercom system to talk with your colleagues, and you have the ability to share screens, which is a nice feature to have. So as I mentioned, if you want to take full advantage of this product and you happen to have servers nearby your workstations, you don't have to have the workstations, the servers in a server room. They can be connected to the same devices, the same physical device that's connecting to your workstation, to the transmitter portion of that unit. So the receiver portion, again, is connected to the workstation, and the transmitter portion can be connected physically to a server. Now, that server is independent of that particular workstation. It's just taking advantage of that independent transmitter on that physical unit. So it can be seen and viewed on any screen on any workstation. So any workstation can look at any server that's anywhere in this network. It's just physically not in a server room, or you can have a mix of some in a server room and some that happen to be nearby a workstation. You can take full advantage of that unit and have it connect to both the workstation, to the server, and to the workstation devices. Okay, and you still have the ability to share content with your colleagues. You still have the ability to enable an intercom, have intercom conversations with your colleagues, all within the same setup. Okay, and the movement across the screens remains the same. Just to mention, by the way, these workstations and the OSD, we're going to look at some slides on how that works, but you do have to log in. So there's a security aspect here. Users have to log into their workstations every morning. They log off at night, for example, in a secure environment. And the ability on which workstation, which servers a particular user can see is determined by the administrator. When he creates a user, he assigns roles to that user, and roles are access rights. So you can limit certain servers to certain users and assign it to their account. And when they log in, they automatically can only see the workstations or the servers that they've been given access to, granted access to. Next, we have a slightly different arrangement. We're looking, if we look at this bottom half here, and on the right side, we're pretty much the same as the first slide, where we've got servers in the server room. And then you've got the units here for the workstations. Again, you can have servers connected directly here, and you can have a mix and match of server room servers and servers out near the workstations. But we've introduced something new up in the upper left-hand corner here. We've introduced a video wall that's in addition to the video walls that each workstation can have. This is a video wall on an entire wall that would be available to all users to see on a very large video wall on the back wall of the room, where all these folks can be in the same room. And that is driven by our seamless AV over IP product that we looked at earlier. So that AV over IP product, again, is a transceiver like the KVM over IP product is. So you have both a transmitter and receiver operating simultaneously. So I can have source AV over IP devices connected, and I can have the video wall connected to the receiver end or the decoder end of the product. So on this video wall, I can show source material from the AV over IP environment, from the transmitters and the various sources connected to the seamless AV over IP receiver transmitter switch. I can also have IP cameras supporting H.264.265 using RTMP, RTSP to be able to send content to the receiver shown up on the screen. Okay. And how that blends with the KVM is that on the KVM side, I can push content from my window, not only to another user, like you can see here as we looked at earlier, but I can also push content onto that video wall, which is an AV over IP environment. So my KVM and my AV over IP work seamlessly together. So I can push content to the screen to share with everyone, and I can pull content from that video wall onto my screen as well, on my workstation screen, to have a closer look at something. For example, if I've got a security environment where I'm working for a very large company, I've got security cameras throughout the building and the parking lots and all over the place. And I've got security, IP security cameras throughout the infrastructure. I can show that content on this screen via the seamless AV over IP devices. And at the same time, if I want to get a closer look at something because I'm seeing something suspicious, I can push that content onto my screen and take a closer look at it. So it's a very flexible environment, as you can see, where you can mix KVM and AV over IP together to have various sources shown on a large screen, and as well as managing servers all at the same time. So we're going to take a closer look at the on-screen display, so the KVM portion, how you manage the KVM aspect of the product. Again, as we saw earlier, you can move across screens by just scrolling your cursor. As you move across, you'll automatically switch from one screen to the other to take control of any of up to 9 windows on a given screen, 9 servers on a given screen. The OSD, the on-screen display, basically looks like this. You've got various controls for your sources, layouts to restore default arrangements on your screen, collaboration to be able to share content with other workstations, intercom system to be able to speak with your colleagues on other workstations. The system section is for setup, and that's managed by the administrator. The administrator, again, would assign users. He would create accounts for various users with passwords. He would set up roles. Roles could limit what functionality they have access to and what they can and cannot do, and also which servers they can and cannot see. So you'd create different roles, and you can assign those roles to various users, and you can have various categories of users. You can have different operators, operator level 1, level 2, level 3, for example. You can have technician roles, you can have manager roles, and then you have, of course, the administrator role, which is the person who does all the assignments. And then at the end of the day, you would quit, and then the next day you'd log back in to get access to your workstation. Okay, so that's the basic layout, and you can see some examples here of the source button. When you press on that, you see all the various sources you're able to work with. You can group servers. You can group servers together in various groups and assign those groups to the different users. And users, if they have more than one group that they're allowed to work with, they can call up the different groups that they're able to work with, and by clicking on any of these views, they can get a full screen view of that particular workstation. They can then press restore to get back to their default layout arrangement. You have the layouts here also to rearrange things in various ways on the screen. You have the, we'll move forward here. This is the various layouts that you can look at. Again, up to 9 different views, different multi-views on a single screen. So you can select layouts. You can also create set up a cooperation with a particular colleague, as I mentioned before. So basically you can look at all the various users here that you can share content with, select a user and be able to communicate with that user and share your screen. You do have to ask permission. They will have to accept your screen, and once they do, they're able to see the screen and you can discuss whatever you're seeing on the screen together. You can use the intercom system as well to be able to verbally communicate with that user if he's not sitting across the anywhere near you. Okay. So that's the KVM over IP solution, which blends KVM. And here you can see an example of a large installation where you would use both the KVM over IP product as well as the AV over IP seamless switching product we looked at together, where the AV over IP manages the video wall that you can see on this large wall. And then the operators here can have various configurations of their own little video walls on their workstations to manage the servers themselves and collaborate with each other, and even communicate with each other via an intercom system, so that they can speak with each other. So that's our presentation for today.